Did we just get swerved? I feel like we just got swerved.
We did.
We got half a season of the Boba Fett show, and it was fine. Better than a lot of Star Wars that's out there. And then all of a sudden, the Mandalorian is just back, and it's the best Mandalorian so far.
Oh my God, yeah.
My theory is this. Robert Rodriguez was hired for this job for a reason. He is the guy who can just come up with stuff fast, on the fly, shoot it against a green screen, and turn it into a hit movie. He's done that.
He does.
That's his gimmick. That's what he's been doing. So I feel like the big guns at Disney decided we can do Mandalorian, but we can only do like 3 episodes and turn them around in a year. So can we get Robert to shoot like a Book of Boba Fett show while we're doing this at the same time, just off like behind the set with the stuff that's left over?
Dude, you might be right. It sounds exactly what happened. It really does sound exactly what happened because that I think you just pretty much summed it up.
And then we get to these episodes, and it's like
these 2 episodes have been unreal. And again, we talked about the mean motor scooters. They didn't really work. Other than that, and even after that, when it kind of got explained, like, well, right now we're in the dingy part of the universe because George Lucas shot in the 70s, but it was after the Empire fell, so everything was dirty, looked older and stuff, but we're not going back to, back to the prequels when everything was a little bit more civilized and shinier, and that's what it was supposed to be, a shout out to the sequel. So we weren't down with the motor scooters, but the show itself I've never had any heat with. But then these 2 next, like, how can you be a Star Wars fan and not, like, I don't know about you, I was laughing, I was crying, I was cheering, I was scared. We're talking about
episode 6, right?
Yeah, like last week it was just like solid, top to bottom. This is the Mandalorian. Love to see it. You got the lore of the Darksaber. Everything was great, solid. But this week I thought would have been the finale. This wasn't the finale? You mean you're going to do more than what you do here? Let's give another explosion for the spoilers because these are dangerous spoilers. And there was a bunch. I mean, you freaking got R2-D2 in scene 2.
That was enough, right? R2-D2.
That's all you would have to do.
You saw the little radar thing pop up, and you're like, "Oh, it's R2." And it's like, "Oh, awesome, R2."
Yeah, and I was already happy that you got Cobb Vanth facing off with some Pikes.
That was cool.
And then it's just like it made it feel like very Old West, and then and then you actually see what everybody's fighting for.
Timothy Olyphant is like the modern day TV cowboy.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's done it in a way. Did you watch Justified?
No, he was great in that. That's why he got booked in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because of Justified.
Justified is great. It's like very much a Western format, but in a modern setting.
Okay.
He's the sheriff. I mean,
I remember it. Yeah,
he's not actually a sheriff, but in sort of like the style of the show, he's the sheriff. And at the end of every show, he kills the bad guy.
Oh, really? Then
he kills a lot of people in that show.
He's great. When I saw him, I was happy with, I was even happy to get that. To see that, I was like, okay, cool. They're going to do that. And I was like, okay, they're doing the Inglourious Bastards. They're doing the Dirty Dozen. They're getting the band. So they got Black Krishanson. They had Mandalorian. Now they're going to get Cobb Vanth. I was like, cool. They're getting all these guys, and that's going to be Boba Fett's gang that he's going to fight the Pikes with. And then we got to see the drug. It's like it's a mix between cocaine and glitter, right? That's the spice.
Yep.
But then to see Mandalorian go to the other planet, and Star Wars Theory was talking about this. Like, I think we're going to see Luke training Grogu next week, and I was like, wow, that's really like you're reaching for the stars, pal. I was like, I'd love to see it too. I don't think we're going to get that. It's like I thought it was going to be one Mandalorian episode and we're back to Boba Fett. But guess what? That's exactly what we got. Dude, Luke freaking Skywalker.
This was like a huge moment in like movie history that I think we saw because you're seeing now something new, a deep fake as a character performance, right?
A better deep fake than when we saw him last season.
Yeah, they got that guy off the internet, Shamook.
Really?
They got a guy who used to do deep fakes on his YouTube page, got booked by Disney to work on that show, and they gave him, like, he did. I believe he did a YouTube video where he took the Luke Skywalker clip from the previous year and did his own version, and it looked way cleaner. So Disney hired him.
So they hired him? Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so good. I had no idea. Because, yeah, you couldn't, like, his face, like, you can tell, look, just a tiny different, but, like, he was supposed to be 5 years older than when we saw him in Return of the Jedi. So I was like, I was okay with it. But we didn't even get to that. Like, we didn't even get to the parts that like, there were spoilers before that, too. No one's going to care about this. But we saw ant droids. Not androids, ant droids building the Jedi temple that we saw destroyed in Force Awakens. I didn't think we were going to see that. We don't even know what planet this is. And then when we get to that, R2 powers down. He basically tells Mandalorian, have a seat. And then freaking Ahsoka shows up.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't know shit.
It was a lot. It was a lot going on in this.
And that's like a big deal because to me, one of the biggest things you wanted to see, because I was a huge fan. I watched every single episode of the Clone Wars. I watched every single episode of Rebels. So I marked out when she showed up in live action. And you knew Dave Filoni was going to bring her in. But it was going to be a big deal. It's like, wow, how cool it would be to see Ahsoka in the same scene with Luke Skywalker and her asking about his father now that we know they're together. So when she popped up, I was like, wait a minute, she already knows Luke? It's like,
and let's be clear to what's going on in this scene. You cannot undersell the historic significance of what's going on here. You have Rosario Dawson, 2022 Rosario Dawson, acting in a scene with 1983 Mark Hamill. And it works, completely works.
Yeah, and it totally worked. And yeah, I had no issues with it, except like you said, it was like, okay, fine. You didn't like our motor scooters? I'm going to hit you in the face with a fire hose. Because then she started talking. It's like, you're here to see Grogu. And I'm like, oh, wow, we're going to see Grogu. And then there he was. And then I popped. And I was like, oh, my God, there he is. And then he's like talking to him. And then he's like, oh, you want to remember? And then he did the thing. he did the Jedi gimmick where he's trying to clear his memory. We saw Order 66 getting executed, and we saw Grogu at the freaking... It was
violent, looked good.
At the temple, and I was like, what? That's what I love, and I think that's why people are loving this, because Disney... And here's another take. Here, you heard it here first. J.J. Abrams, this is officially a citizen's arrest. I want you brought up on official charges. I'm going to call the DA because you did it wrong. You did it wrong. And if you want to blame somebody else, then fine. We're going to arrest you. And then you're just like in the cops, you're going to have to give us a bigger name because this is what everybody wanted all along. And to the point where Dave Filoni is not only giving everybody what they wanted all along, he's even giving them the stuff. It's like, yeah, JJ did this too. Here's the temple. He's making that. He might be what Disney needs to save that sequel trilogy. Because now he's going to make that mean something.
Yeah.
So, but then, so having Grogu seeing Order 66, having Luke, did you cry when he was running with Grogu on his back and that he references just like, this used to belong to someone, your Master Yoda, your size. He taught, that's how he referenced, that's how he talked. He talked in riddles. Like, man, he was like us for a second, like giving Grogu was just like, this is what everybody loves.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to cry. I couldn't feel it. I was in shock as what was going on screen.
Yeah,
it was mind-blowing what was going on. Mm-hmm. Every scene you're howling. It's just like, you're just making you know what I'm talking when you react to some TV and you're not even sure what to say.
Yeah, no, that literally was that. And it was just like blow, like bam, bam, just getting hits, and then we saw the training, even the training remote, and that was a cool callback. And using the Force with the frogs, and now Luke is the one that shows you how to use it. And yeah, it was beautiful, man. And just like, and then we finally was just like, we wanted Mandalorian to see, we wanted Din Djarin to see Grogu, but knowing that, obviously Ahsoka's not a heel, but she's going to try to like, you sure you want him to see you? That was heart-wrenching to me because you're like, is this what's best for him? Like, you sure you want to do that? And he's like, I just want to give him this chainmail. You know, it's just like, wow, that was just so good. It was so good.
And it's like little baby clothes, which is cute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was very cool. And then the biggest thing that got me is, like I said, I've been desperate to hear a conversation between Ahsoka and Luke. And when she said something that, just like your father, I was just like, that got me. That really got me.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
That's like, wow, it's 20. Just what a time for anyone who's, we talk about Vince hating wrestling fans and then Kathleen Kennedy dropping Star Wars. But this one was just, wow. He just gave you everything. And that's still just half of what we talked about. Because it's just like, we got tons of training footage with Grogu and Luke, to the point where people are going to want to show, to the point where people were forgetting, like, hey, this is a Boba Fett show.
And that's not even everything.
No, it's not even everything. We haven't gone back to Tatooine yet. Because I don't know about you, dude. Again, being a fan of Rebels and Clone Wars, when they went back to Tatooine, back to Cobb Vanth, and, Mandalorian just left. He's like, I think you need to be in this fight. He's like, I don't know if we're ready, but I'll see what I can do. And you saw that figure walking, and you saw that hat. And I had like a slow, like, oh, damn. And he walked up, and it was Cad Bane.
They, like, so much going on in this episode.
Because basically dropping Cad Bane in an episode is a strong enough drop to carry an entire episode. Same with R2, same with Luke. Obviously, they would have been much, like last year you would have said, yeah, Luke and R2 over it. But since we already saw them once, to have them drop in the same episode as Cad Bane was just like, wow. And then have Ahsoka come back after we only saw her in one episode. Like, wow, he's really just punching everybody in the mouth.
And you've got, in the legit way, like, when you watch the animated versions or something and you see Luke in the animated versions with whatever character, it's one thing. But now you're actually seeing actual 1983 Mark Hamill in the movie with 2022 Ahsoka Tano, Rosario Dawson, and then someone who's never been live action. You've got Cad Bane from the cartoons in this shared universe now.
In this world, yeah.
They're all in the same storyline.
Yeah, and still moving the story ahead. That should basically putting the pieces in place of, like, basically setting up for a big showdown. Like, all these pieces are in place. Because not to mention, they were still moving the story along with the Pikes, and how the Pikes are basically trying to turn Tatooine into a drug running planet. And then here's the big thing that I was seeing, is Max Rebo dead? Because that was a big thing. Because, the Pikes went into Jennifer Beals' bar, which we saw a lot of this season, and they blew it up. They left the ice cream maker, which was the freaking deep cut to the thing that the guy was running with in Empire Strikes Back. And everyone's like, why is he holding a homemade ice cream? And now they turned it into a bomb. It's like these.
That was the ice cream thing. I heard about that.
Yeah. That's like crazy. I was like, wow, this guy's like literally he's like, don't worry, dog. I got you not only in your obvious stuff and your sentimental stuff and your retro stuff. I even got you on your deep cuts.
Boom.
Unreal. And then finally getting back to what the Book of Boba Fett is, the battle for Tatooine between Boba Fett and his inglorious bastards versus the Pike Syndicate. And we don't even know who's running the Pike Syndicate. Is it going to be Kira? Are we going to get a deep fake Han? Or are we going to see Chewie and Chewie next to BK? There's so much that still could happen.
After this episode, I'm expecting a lot to happen next week.
Yeah. Because, yeah, there's this. Would you have been disappointed if this was the finale? I wouldn't have. I mean, I would have wanted more, but I would have been like, oh, please don't leave us like this. I can't wait for a year. But, like, it ended with, like, okay, here's the chainmail from Din Djarin. Here is the lightsaber. Which one do you choose?
Yoda's lightsaber.
Yeah, Yoda's lightsaber. Which one do you choose? And they ended on that.
Like, the first season of Mandalorian had those Lone Wolf and Cub vibes, Lone Wolf and Cub, right?
Yep.
Anyway, and a lot of that was like in the Wu-Tang album. But anyway, this also had a very Lone Wolf and Cub vibe, because if you watch, like, on Shogun Assassin, that one that they always reference, there's a scene where it's like, choose this or choose that, and you decide your fate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's telling the son to do that, and they do that with Baby Yoda. It's a lot going on.
And it's a big deal because a lot of the chatter on the internet, and I agree with it. You probably agree with it too. I mean, the whole dogmatic view of the Jedi caused a lot of the issues that caused the fall of the Jedi, and one of them was your attachments. And Luke basically saved his father. He saved Darth Vader. He saved Anakin by saying, I feel the good in him. I love him. That attachment that you're saying that he's not allowed, I'm going to use that attachment to bring him back. So it was kind of an interesting choice. Almost, I thought, wow, this could bring us dangerously close to making Luke a heel if you're going to force Grogu. You're not going to force him, but you're going to basically say you can only do one or another instead of finding that way to have both. And I think Grogu is going to somehow find a way to, he's going to grab both of them and he's going to teach Luke a lesson, because we saw Luke come in at the season 2 finale of Mandalorian, and you're like, okay, this is a Jedi who knows everything. He's got it. He figured it out. This is Luke at his peak. And then when we saw him training Luke, Grogu was like, okay, got it. But then when he was talking to Ahsoka, didn't you get the vibe of just just by him asking the question, what do I do? It was like, okay, he doesn't have all the answers.
Right, because now what they're doing, you can have a different arc for Luke, because you had in the original trilogy him going from student to becoming the master. Now you can build the arc of him going from master to becoming a teacher.
Yeah,
he's got to get to that point. He's got to learn how he's going to teach the younglings or whatever to become the new Jedi.
And that's a big deal. And then I feel like, in a weird way, I think Ahsoka Tano became his new Obi-Wan Kenobi, because now you're thinking, okay, because we saw Ahsoka when she came in, she was a little girl, right? She was just she was a youngling. And now we see her as the wise master. She fast forwarded. Now she's the old one. So I was like, okay, so she's not, Luke doesn't have, even though in our timeline, Luke would have seniority, but in that timeline, Luke is just into it 5 years into being a Jedi. This is like year 2 Batman. He's year 5 Luke, although he's super strong. But, we have Ahsoka that's been going for 50 years, since the Clone Wars, that's working for. So she's now his new Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's actually another big connection to Anakin Skywalker through Ahsoka. Because, oh man, I was another one that I cried over so many things in this. I cried. And one of them that got me, she said, I'm an old friend of the family.
Yeah, that's good.
Dude, I'm almost getting welling up just saying that, wow, everything that she went through with Anakin and ending in, when she had that big duel with him in Rebels, against Darth Vader, and basically willing to sacrifice her life, saying, I'm not going to leave you. And I guess she did die in that technically, but we talked about this, the world between worlds. Somehow Ezra got her and, got her out of that, where she technically was going to die facing Anakin. But to say she's an old friend of the family. So that means, wow, there's so much I want to talk about, because it's just like, okay, cool. Because we saw Luke can see Anakin as a Force ghost. Does that mean Ahsoka can talk to him again?
Is that a thing?
It's Ahsoka can talk to Anakin as a Force ghost now.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're bringing Anakin back too, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are saying.
You think we'll get Ahsoka in the Obi-Wan show?
Oh, now? Yeah, I think we have to, right?
I don't know.
I mean, because I think
I'm not up on all the timelines and on all the cartoons exactly, but.
So, yes, because Rebels was the last time we saw her. There, and actually Obi-Wan was in Rebels. Actually, you saw Darth Maul finally die officially for good in Rebels in a final duel with Obi-Wan. I don't know if that was a spoiler. Did I just spoil it yet? Was that I don't know if I spoiled you or spoiled the internet. But yeah.
They know what they signed up for.
It matches the timeline, so it could show up. But I was almost thinking, it's like, are we going to see Anakin's Force ghost in this? But because you
right, well, who the hell knows what the hell? If the finale is going to top this, I don't know how. I honestly don't even know how it's possible. But you would think the finale is going to have to top this, right?
You would think. You would definitely think. I still think that they have to keep Luke and Boba Fett away, because right at this timeline, Oh man, yeah. Mike called it the show feels like No Way Home of Star Wars narratively. Yeah, because they're bringing everybody in, and that's the same feeling I got. That's the Garfield walking through the portal feel that when I saw these. But you still
But they're not using a multiverse gimmick.
No.
They're just lining it up.
Yeah, they're just lining it up perfectly. But in thinking about Boba Fett, it's been 5 years, right? So he can't really face Luke because last time Luke Skywalker saw him, he had Han and Carbonite, and he was the villain. So I don't know. Maybe he would be willing to forget him, but that might be confusing in the beginning. So you really can't. Can you really have Han and Chewie in this band of brothers? Because it's just like, yeah, I know I just put you in Carbonite 5 years ago, but can we get past that? Because I'm a babyface now. I don't know if you've heard.
Can they pull that off?
I don't know if they can pull that off, but in a way, they probably don't even need to. Like, I would be okay if they kept them away because we got Cad Bane in there now. We got the only one is maybe you can see like no, not even Chewbacca, dude. So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do next week. But this is a one that I told you I've been waiting. The last two I got to wait for mornings. This is a set the alarm and get up at 2:30 and just watch it live.
I think they're going to have to keep it, whatever goes on, I think you're right. They're going to have to keep it a little bit separated to protect everybody else, right? But I think it's going to have to do with the Pikes. Maybe we'll get a Han Solo cameo in whatever the resolution to the Pike storyline is. Like you said, whoever's leading up the Pikes knows Han Solo, I bet.
Well,
That's a spoiler.
Yeah, that's the spoiler. But that's the rumor is it is Kira, right? And in Solo, that was his girlfriend before Leia was Kira. And then at the end, you saw that she was basically going to be Darth Maul's. She was Darth Maul's number 2. So at this point, we never saw her die. So she would be the number 1 running it. And obviously, there's a big conflict between that would put that love triangle between Han, Leia, and Kira, which we never had because it's just like you always thought, Leia was the love of his life, but you think that was later on in his life. We saw that it was Kira in the beginning. So do you think that they can actually do that? But that's a lot of deep faking. Because you'll have to have a deep fake Leia.
I kind of feel they're going to leave it to one deep fake at a time right now. That might be a huge leap once you start going multiple deep fakes, right?
Agreed.
I think they're going to keep it simple, have one deep fake character in each scene because I think it's even like acting for an actor to act with a deep fake. I bet it's difficult. So
yeah,
I think they're still working on it, but I think we'll get there eventually.
I think so. But man, we've already got a ton. Black Krrsantan was huge for me. He's my favorite new character. I want to see him do more. We got basically Jabba's brothers, cousins, uncles. We got 2 Hutts that were in there, so that kind of had the Hutt nod.
The Jabba twins.
Yeah, we got we got to see the Sarlacc pit. We got to see what was Danny Trejo. They got the new monster under the table.
That was at the backlot where they were filming Boba Fett. Robert Rodriguez was filming it all on his phone.
So many nods. We got to see, Beggar's Canyon. We got to see Womp Rats. We got to see
Naboo
Starfighter. Man, we got so much. So, I don't even want to be greedy, because I feel like they've, as much like I said, the motor scooters were really the only complaint. And even then, they're making the mean motor scooters kind of just look like scouts. Like they're not, because she even said, finally, we got muscle with Black, with BK. I have trouble with my accent saying Krrsantan. My dad didn't know how to say three. He had to say tree. So I think I used to laugh at that, but I think I got that now. Black Krrsantan.
Chrysanthemum? Is that what he is?
Chrysanthemum. I can't say it with my tongue. But anyway, him and Mandalorian, they're like, now we got real muscle. So they're really making the mean motor scooters, the mods, which I like the name. It's a cool name, mods. They're making them more like scouts.
I think they're fine.
They're not fighters. They're scouts.
They're fine. They had that action sequence. Maybe they should have edited that out. Maybe just leave it out. Leave it on the cutting room floor. Whatever.
Yeah, because it was just a car chase, right? That's the only thing that got everybody.
Yeah, and as a whole, the first 5 episodes seem stretched out anyway. Imagine if they had taken those the 5 episodes and maybe shrunk them down into 3 or 2, and that's it. And we get a full, solid explanation of Boba Fett's backstory. Gotcha. And then move on to the Mandalorian, what he's up to, and then boom, put them together. Here we go.
I see what you're saying. So the Book of Boba Fett would actually be like a story arc to the Mandalorian versus its own show.
Exactly. Just like it's a 2-episode arc, and then we cut back to the Mandalorian.
Well, you think about it, right? It was just like they stretched it into 4, but it could have been a 3.
Stretched it into 5.
It could have been 3. Oh,
no,
yeah,
4. You're right.
4, and then this, because this one, Boba Fett didn't have a lot of face time in this one either.
Yeah,
I mean,
or just do just do a 2-hour movie, and then move us into the rest of the Mandalorian. I don't know.
Well, it looks like it's going that way anyway. I don't really foresee. I'd be curious if they're going to do a Book of Boba Fett season 2. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I guess it just depends. Well, I mean, I say probably not, but I guess it really depends on how they resolve this, because as much as this show was grounded, like I think the biggest thing about Mandalorian is people loved it was just like George Lucas dreamed of. Always, I'm going to take you to a different exotic planet and a different each movie. This is a water planet. This is a fire planet. This is a tree planet. The whole planet's a city, Anakin. That, where this was just like everything that took place on Tatooine. This was just the Tatooine show. And I think a lot of people started to get claustrophobic, like, I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and it gets everywhere. Storyline-wise, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's so good, everything that's going on right now. And I think they made the mistake. I guess maybe they feel like a streaming show that comes out and is only 5 episodes would be a rip, so they want to stretch it out. Or I just think they could have definitely taken those first 4, turned them into 2, given us this. People would be way happier. Everyone would be in a good mood.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't, and like just these past 2 episodes, everybody already forgot. I do feel bad a little bad for Boba Fett, because I feel like everybody's kind of like, now he's kind of pushed to the side, and for years and years we wanted to see what happened to Boba, and now we did, and now everyone's like, cool, go back to Grogu. That was just like, that's kind of a bummer. But
honestly, the Mandalorian or Din Djarin kind of stole Boba Fett's gimmick. So once Boba Fett enters the show, he can't really do this. He has to. They had to rebrand him or whatever, repackage him.
Wow, you're right. He stole the gimmick, and that's why it feels different, because the way Mando acts is the way everyone thought Boba was going to act.
Exactly.
But Boba had the thing crawl up his nose, so he went on the vision quest. So, but I'm so psyched for the finale. But what I really want. I was of the mind that they were not going to even bring Grogu back, and I thought that was going to be a blowback for Mandalorian season 3. Everyone was going to be like, "Where's Grogu?" And they're like, "Well, that was the Foundling arc, but now we're moving on to the Siege of Mandalore arc, so we're not going to do that." So when they brought him back for this show, like I told you, even Theory was like last week, I think we're going to see seeing Grogu. Was like, "Oh man, that's not going to happen. I don't even want to get my hopes up." So when it happened, I was like, "Wow!" And now I'm starting to think, what? You think they realize what they have on their hands, and now Grogu is going to become the center of this new Star Wars world as we know it?
I think they know exactly, and that is why they did it this way. I think that the folks over there at Disney, whoever's making decisions, said, we don't have time to make 10 Mandalorians. We can make 3 and get them out by next Christmas. We can do 3.
Yeah.
And I really think that was the issue. And it's like, well, we can't just put out 3 episodes. What else can we do? Oh, let's expand Boba Fett for a while, and then, have that as the sort of like setup for the 3 Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And get somebody who can do it on the cheap and fast.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, dude.
Get Robert Rodriguez. Come on.
I think you're absolutely right. And that sounds right. And I think people are okay with it, but I think you're right. I think that's what they did. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because we still got Star Wars in lore, in universe storytelling. And to me, that's enough. And
it's fine. And if they had just packaged it that way, I think folks would all around be happier. But I mean, yeah, it's good. But you don't have to just give us what we want. It's all good. You don't have to overfeed us. It doesn't have to be 4 episodes when it can be 2.
Yeah. And I'm just... You're right, and they could have done this annual, but I think we're gonna get that cadence where we're gonna have more than one Star Wars show a year eventually, right? I think that's gonna happen. You know, because
There'll be at least one.
We'll have Obi-Wan this year, right? I think that is this year. We should have it, and then we should have the rest of the Mandalorian. But I'm really hoping that they do what Netflix tried to do and it didn't work. Where we got Daredevil, we got Luke Cage, you know, we got Iron Fist, and we got Jessica Jones, and then it turned into the Defenders. I want that super show that's going to happen, and that would be even cool if they made that theatrical. And the rumor is it's going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn, and somehow Ezra is going to come back. And it's possible now that we got Cad Bane and Ahsoka again. I would be cool if it's all leading to an Avengers type, you know, an Endgame type event.
And you know what? I'm cool with it not going theatrical. I enjoy this new thing that Disney's doing. I guess maybe HBO too. I like staying up till 2 a.m. and watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I did it for Wanda, and I still have fond memories of like barely like just waking up, and I was like, oh, I got to go back to bed. But Wanda's on, and I jumped up, you know, and I went and saw that. And same thing. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning when I had the Luke reveal, and I was just like weeping. And I think it's just that time of day, everything's already heightened. So I'm okay with it, but I do wonder if they're going to do now go to the theaters, now watch at home, now go to the theaters, now go watch at home.
I don't think you can do that. I feel like if what works on TV because it's built into a TV format.
Yeah.
You know? It's like when The Simpsons did a movie.
Oh, man, but I love The Simpsons.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just The Simpsons at the movies. It's not really different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but and Simpsons even leaned into that. It's just like no one would be dumb enough to go to a theater to pay for something what they could see at home for free, right?
Right. Or like the X-Files.
Give me what I want. Give me what I want. I don't know if that was the Batista line. Give me what I want. But I just want more. I want more Star Wars like this, and I was just so happy. And I feel like we're doing this show, and this was going to be like our big finale show, but this one was so big that it felt like a finale. And we really got one more left.
One more.
We got one more left, and I don't think Ahsoka or Obi-Wan is going to be the next show. The rumor is we might get an Obi-Wan trailer at the Super Bowl, but it's a small rumor.
What for though? Do they need to do that?
Dude, all they need to say is the Obi-Wan show is coming, and they never have to show a trailer, but they're gonna. And I think it's just like it can just be a small teaser. I don't think they should show if he is in it, and we know he's in it. I don't think they should show Anakin. Just showing hello there would be enough. That's all they have to do in the Super Bowl. Save your money. 30 seconds. Just have Obi-Wan, the name on the screen for 28 seconds, and then have his head pop up and say, hello there, and then just end. And remember, everyone's like, Disney Plus, here's my money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't need it. But that's the rumor. But that's, I guess, one of the shows we're not getting the Rangers of the New Republic anymore since they fired Cara Dune, which is kind of a bummer, you know, because that was going to be one of the shows that was supposedly leading into this super event. And they could have booked Sonya Deville to be Cara Dune. She actually offered that. And if you think about it, I mean, Cara Dune, what's her name? I don't remember her name.
Gina Carano?
Yeah, Gina Carano. She was a lot bigger than Sonya Deville, but she had the same presence. She could have done a version of that, I think, pulled it off, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're just going to scrap it.
No, they're going to do and then Cara Dune returned to her home planet.
Yeah.